Welcome to episode 32 of the Global Exclusive Podcast. I'm your host, Hazard, and joining me this week are Bharos, Cotton, Dream, and Shadowwalker. I swap between is and are every week, I think, because I can't decide if it should be plural or singular. So I need someone to tell me if that's, how that's supposed to be in the future. Thank you, grammar nerds. I appreciate that.
It's this English, week, like both of them work, right?
Yeah, Cotton, I know you're an English major, so,
Oh, I
let
wish.
me know.
I mean, I can pull the English is my second language excuse.
Heinously wrong.
I'm joined this week. Let's see. No, how do I say it? I'm trying to figure out how we say it.
Let's just listen to the replay. I'm gonna edit in Hazard's intro here a couple of more times so everyone can listen to it.
Oh god.
So I said joining me this week are or is, right? I think it's
joining me
are.
this week is.
Is, yeah. I think it might be is. See, I can't decide.
I think I would just choose to say like I'm joined this week by.
You're right. I'll do that from now on. That's a good idea.
I'm sure you'll remember.
Now that we've gotten that important piece of business out of the way, I do have a sponsor this week. This episode is sponsored by Gil. Gil is the most plentiful and easily accessible currency in FFBE. Gil can be used to purchase all sorts of things, such as unit awakenings, expeditions, fusing units, smoogles, and cactuars, and more. It can be acquired through normal gameplay, as well as events such as raids, item world, selling other currency, and selling Gil Snappers. Did you also know that you can sell up to 99 Gil Snappers at once using the Sell All feature? This will really come in handy for those 500 Gil Snapper towers you just picked up this week. But be careful not to sell too many at once, though, or you'll risk going over that 200 million cap. Just make sure you don't spend it all in one place. Thanks, guys.
God, I am so sad about not discovering this exploit sooner. So to those that are listening, just to clarify, so what happened, of course, in the game was that they accidentally put the biggest Gil Snappers in the Soon Shop, the towers, and if you sold all of them, I think it's like 250 million gold Gil worth, right?
Yeah,
something like that. I think.
Yeah.
Well, it was
250 million.
So if you were fast and you read Reddit and shit and you weren't at work, then you would have cashed out. But I didn't, so fuck me, right?
Well, this is the problem with me and Shadow and Muspel all being on server time, is that usually when the server comes up after maintenance, it's like 3 or 4 a.m. for us, which means we ain't on. And so I've missed out on basically every exploit that's ever existed in FFBE because of it.
Yeah, but you're also you never have.
You complain about being at Gil Cap.
Yeah, so it's it's
I know.
I am the dude hovering over 500,000 Gil all the time, and I'm lucky if I have a King Mog Gil map to kind of do to just awaken some shit. It's horrible.
I know we've talked about this.
I was also that dude.
Yeah. Well, we talked about this ad nauseum off the air, but if Gil is really easily accessible, and if you manage your Gil correctly, you're never going to run out. But the problem is, most people don't do that. Most people don't pay attention to it enough to do that, which is fine. There's no shame in doing that. But I have never seen Reddit so upset about anything. There's been a lot of screw ups by Gumi in the 4.5 years that we've been playing this game. This has broken a lot of people, and I don't really quite understand why. I get it. I get that you feel like you missed out, and then there's arguments it's a single player game. There's no advantage it gives to other people except that, I don't know, if they weren't guild capped or if they had low guild, then now they can,
Well, we discussed this in the channel too, the thing is, so who's going to have the least guild? Well, it's obviously the biggest spenders because they have a ton of units to awaken and, do enhancements and shit. So usually those are the people that have less gil and do a lot of refreshes to actually get gil in one way or another. And
well, I would also say new players too. New players don't come in with a ton of gil.
Yeah,
and you've got a lot of things to awaken. So I get that if you're a newer player, if you've been playing for 3 or 4 years though, come on.
No, but my point is it's a valuable currency, so obviously Gumi wants to patch it out. Like, they don't want those 250 million to be in there. I fully get that.
It makes sense what they did, because that's how exploits and exploit fixes work.
But for the same reason...
everyone else should be able to get them too. That's
exactly.
If you
because
cared
for
so
the
much
same
about
reason, people are
fairness,
angry.
why are you playing a gacha game?
Yeah,
that doesn't make any sense. The anger is something that I don't get either. Like, for example, if Best Buy suddenly accidentally left their doors open and everybody stole their 60-inch 4K TV, they're gonna close that door at a certain point. Yeah.
And you don't have to give everyone else who wanted a TV one to be fair, or even if it's like, they had a clearance sale. After that stock's out, they don't have to keep selling it at that price to be fair for the other people.
Yeah, but you know what? It's different, because with Best Buy, you're going to be thinking about stuff like, this is physical, this is a physical commodity. It's going to cost people, Whereas in FFBE, you're like, but it's free for you to give out these to everyone, right?
Well, no, but that's a wrong way to look at it. Technically, anything in this game will be free from that perspective.
Yeah, but no. I mean, it's not free, but the thing is, it's easy to fall into that trap of thinking it's free because it's digital and they can, just flip a number in a database and we're all going to get the 250 million, right? But that's the thing, it seems like it's so easy to give it to everyone, but it's not.
I mean, because this is a gacha game, I would think that they're also very tight. They also have tight control over how much resources they actually give out each month. And all those Guild Snapper trials probably just threw it out of whack.
So
exactly.
My take on it is I can understand people thinking it's unfair. I think it, in some sense is unfair, but I think what's changed, because this has happened before, right? You guys remember when someone hacked the server and gave everyone 5,000 lapis a few years ago? Mm-hmm. I was one of the very few people who did not receive that lapis, and I felt, like everyone else had an advantage. But the difference was back then, I mean, it really was a single-player game in almost every sense. Like, the only thing that you could really compete on is Arena, which no one cared about, and the rewards sucked, and Raids, which also most people didn't really care about, right? Unless you were, like, the absolute top. But Dark Visions has changed that in the last few months, because that gives out really good rewards, and a lot of people are interested in it. And so now it feels more, we feel more interconnected as a community and more competitive. So I can understand how a snafu like this. Also, can we call this episode Gil Snapfu? Because it would just be really perfect.
But it has nothing to do with the units.
I know. We don't have to. It can go in the bin, I guess. But it just came to my mind. I had to say it. But I think, the idea that, and just to be clear, Gumi did not give out 5,000 lapis to the people who did not get it, at least not at the time. And they've never done anything like that. So the people that are expecting Gumi to give everyone 250 million gil or the opportunity to buy snappers to do so, I just think that would be nice, but that would be shooting themselves in the foot financially more than they would shoot themselves in the foot PR-wise by doing what they did do, which is basically let the people who bought it have it and remove it for everyone else. So I can understand why they did it. It sucks. It does suck, right? There's no way around it. They screwed up, and we're the ones that suffer for it.
The fact that it happened in the first place is going to create problems regardless. But the perception that they are doing something wrong by not giving it to everyone else as well is flawed.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not wrong.
I understand being disappointed. I would have loved 250 million. I have 400,000 in game right now. I can't afford shit. I get it. But that's not the same thing as expecting them to give 250 million to everyone else.
But
Bharos is living by paycheck to FFBE paycheck.
Yeah, I am. I'm living
isn't that his
raid to raid.
strategy?
I cash in. Although, wait, I do have 2 raids. Or I have 1 full raid to cash in. I haven't done the full summons on the previous raid. And there's this raid. So I'm kind of going to get back up to a certain level right now. So that's pretty nice.
One thing that really irks me is how Reddit's hive mind responded to this. There is a way to be reasonable about it, but it's just so, how do you say it in the nicest way possible?
We're really just painting a target on our backs, aren't we?
Yes, we are.
But basically, stop bitching so much.
Yeah,
I just think there's a little too much.
I'm just going to say it.
No, I'm going to say I understand the frustration, okay? I really do. But you also have to think about that nothing in this game is free for Gumi to give out. Because even giving 250 million gil is going to change their bottom line. I'm not going to say hurt, because obviously we all know they're making money. But it's going to change it. It's like Best Buy would give out free TVs. So keep that in mind. Like, Best Buy wouldn't give out free TVs. Gumi's not going to give out 250 million.
And that's I guess that's the perspective that I want to look at this from. Like, I'm trying to explain it from Gumi's perspective is that they did screw up and they acknowledged it and they apologized for it and they were quick to address it and they didn't steal it away from the people who took advantage of it, because if they did that, that would have been worse. Like, I think what they did right now is probably the best possible solution to already a terrible situation. It would have been great if we never got into the situation, but like, if Best Buy suddenly was like recalling everybody that took their free TVs, that wouldn't be a good look for Best Buy either. So,
well, the police would technically do that, but just saying.
Yeah, like these things happen. Like, there's a lot of Steam games that always get, mispriced, or Amazon products that get mispriced, and then and most of the time the developers or the producers, they always have to eat up the cost because these things happen. But that doesn't mean, because I don't know if it was Fallout. I think it was Fallout 4 at one point was mispriced to like $1 at release or something. And it was a huge thing for about 3 hours. And Bethesda isn't going to give everybody Fallout 4 for $1 at release. That's not how this works. So
also, this episode is sponsored by Best Buy, Fallout, and Steam.
It might not have been Fallout, but there was a big AAA game that
it happened. It's happened in FFBE multiple times where they've included stuff they didn't mean to include. You guys remember when they included those Moogles, but it was like 10,000 Moogles. Like, it was so much. It was in a bundle. It was so much that you couldn't actually collect it from the mailbox if you had purchased it. But they just screwed up the number. But they've also done things like free polls on accident. That people
that one time
there was the Regina banner, which like everything that got spent on it was refunded because the rates were wrong.
Yeah,
and it's not like they had to give everyone else free pulls on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's the trap of. Oh yeah, go for it. Sorry.
It's okay. I'm just letting you guys go on. But the way I look at it is, we are about due for a round of Reddit outrage. Like, there's always a game cycle where everything is okay, and then something happens, and then Reddit gets angry, and then it cools down again, and everything's okay, and then something happens again, and Reddit gets triggered. And I guess we are at the point in time where we're due for a Reddit outrage. It could be any small thing that triggers it. Like, unfortunately, it was a guild incident.
Yeah, how long is this? Is
but okay. But I'm gonna put it like this. Okay, yes, we do see a lot of Reddit outrage, but it is also because Gumi has stepped in the shit bucket a couple of times too many. It's kind of like it has built this animosity towards itself from the community, and they're actually doing a lot better. They're communicating a lot better. They're doing a lot of rewards. Whenever they misstep, they do very nice compensation. But still, like, this animosity remains, and I don't know why, actually.
Yeah, I was going to touch upon this, but sorry, go ahead, Azra.
No, you go for it first, because I'm gonna. Yeah.
Oh, okay. What I was just gonna say is that I think it's a trap among free-to-play games, in that people.
This entitlement.
Yeah, there is a level of entitlement. This isn't just the FFB, because I think it's true. I've seen this in the Destiny community. I've seen it in the League of Legends community. Like, sometimes we as consumers feel like we are entitled to something because we spent so much time doing it. But in reality, we gave them their time. Some of us didn't give them our money. So it seems like there is a level of entitlement in the subreddit all the time, obviously. But this time, it just feels like, no, we deserve 250 million gil because some other bloke got it. I'm pretty sure only like 1% to like 3% of the community actually got the 250 million gil, in all honesty. It's just, yeah.
It's another thing, as you guys said, it's a scheduled Gumi screw up, and this is the way they've handled basically all of them. But I will say, some people are upset, and some people are upset at the people that are upset. And I do want to say that it seems like Gumi has really trained us to think that complaining on Reddit and making a big stink about things will get us results, because it has in a lot of these instances. So they've given us the positive reinforcement to keep complaining. But
that could also be said that people complained, the fix happened anyway, would have happened regardless of the complaining, and then people have perceived that.
They're under the illusion that their complaining has...
And you'll never
under the
prove
illusions that the complaint has caused a fix.
When really they were just being hasty.
But it's funny because Bharos made this, he just touched on it as he was, doing a drive-by. He said that, like, the drama, we're almost due for some drama, and I will say that the drama of this game is almost always more interesting than the game itself, which is kind of sad. But we
almost.
Okay, it is, but we do have to move on to units this week because there are some things to talk about. So let's get it right into the banner. It's the second Final Fantasy VII banner on NV, and this one features Aerith. We've also got Rufus Shinra, and then we have NVA versions of Cloud and Red 13. So we've got 2 Cloud NVAs and no Ramza NVAs. And no Ramza NVs.
Technically, one
you get that
Cloud
eventually
NVA.
has a...
Oh, sorry, NV versions. Sorry. So let's talk about who are we going to talk about first? Rufus. Let's talk about Rufus Shinra.
Rufus Shinra.
We can start with Rufus, the token 7-star of the banner.
It's
Why
really
do they
sad
even keep trying? They keep trying.
Okay, hold on.
Why has it come to
I have
this?
a question
they call
for the
people
host.
token 7 stars. Like, why has it come to this?
It's like 4 stars on 7-star banners.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to say. Like I want us to make a collective decision right now. Are we going to continue rating 7-star units in the NV era? Because, okay, some of them, like Renora, definitely are worth mentioning. But nowadays, I don't know. Like, I mean, maybe for new players, I don't know. Like, listeners, maybe you can give us your opinions in the comment or in Discord.
Well, I know we touched on this when NV first came out a few weeks ago. We were kind of saying, one of the things I said at least was that 7 stars now are kind of going to fill that role that 4 stars did at the beginning of the game. So I don't think that they're worthless at all. Like, I think that they're probably worth spending at least a little time on, because for some people, and I won't say who, but some people who strike out on all the NV units may find use for these 7-star units, especially if they're newer players, but some veterans might as well. So I do think they're worth discussing.
We didn't rate 4-star units. That's my whole point. Or we didn't talk about them.
We didn't talk about them. We didn't talk about them.
If they're interesting, if they're just like the next generic 7-star
of course,
DPS,
like,
then there's really nothing to talk about.
Yeah, nowadays you can take even a 4-star unit and defeat like a ton of the old trials that we've had, which is really cool. And you can do that if you're a new player. But like, usually we've been talking about the desirable units, right? And I'm starting to think that rainbows are becoming non-desirable. I mean, Rufus does fucking 34 billion. It's like,
which,
I mean, he has some extra potential.
They delayed Beatrix and nerfed her because she was going to do 26 billion. Just remember that.
Oh, you're still salty about
that. That is one of the worst screw ups they've ever done. Still is, and they really blew it on that entire thing. So, but that's another subject. So let's talk about Rufus Shinra himself.
Rufus, yeah. So he can do like chaining or finishing with his limit burst because he can like refill and limit damage buff himself pretty frequently. He only sports lightning element. I think one thing I sort of thought about him earlier today was he's kind of like a worse, more limited version of Zenaida in a weird way.
And since Zenaida is in the normal pool, like, what use is there for a worse version of her?
But yeah, because he doesn't. His like wiki base damage, whatever, is not very high, but he scales quite well with STMRs. And yeah, if you can like alternate between chaining and capping his limit burst, his damage can get like pretty high for a 7-star. But like ultimately, it's just eh.
Yeah, and my
it's
problem
a 7-star.
He can kind of do breaks as well because he has his like 1 turn 80% full break that should basically be always unlocked, I think, because it's from like a start of battle cast. But the annoying thing with that is it's part of a different multicast to most of his other stuff, so he can't combine that with some of his other stuff, with the big one being he also has an AoE 1-stack Mirage, but he can't combine that with his 80% full break. So his breaking roll, like...
Sounds like an Aleem special.
If you don't really have a good breaker and you somehow get a 7-star, that might see some use. But otherwise, it's, like, not as good as it could be. Like, I don't see why that stuff just isn't in his triple cast. And then, he could be, like, an 80% full break plus 1-stack Mirage, and it would be like, you're Van Light.
Yeah, but as you said, like, it's really difficult to keep it up every turn, because you're just gonna have one turn of it.
Yeah, you have to use it every turn.
Yeah. Well, I mean, wait, but can you even? Because
I think so.
Because as you said, like, it's unlocked. It's unlocked by an ability in the other multicast, and it's only a 1-turn duration. So on one turn you break, but then on the other turn you have to unlock it again, because you can't unlock it on the same turn that you break.
His start of battle multicast, I think it's on level 105, Dark Star. That unlocks it for 10 turns at the start of battle. So if you get to turn 11, you might be screwed on breaking.
No. But how? Like,
he should have
explain to me how you're doing it, because like heal is the move that unlocks. That unlocks his break.
Heal gets also activated by a different move.
Yeah.
By
so his Dark Star passive casts at heal at the start of battle, and then you have the 3 unlocked abilities, one of which is Subdue, the break, and his double cast Hound Barrage for those moves. So then for the next 10 turns, you have that double cast and the break move.
Yeah, but you can't use heal. Heal
is an auto-activated move. Heal doesn't take MP if you look at it.
There's an auto cast, and then there's the actual move called heal. So there's 2 things.
There's 2 of them.
And it does cost your MP.
Okay, because I thought you had to use the move heal, because the move heal... Okay, yeah. Okay,
that's if he's 6-star, you have to actively use heal.
Yeah.
At 7-star, he autocasts it for himself at the start of battle. So for 10 turns, you'll be good. And then, you might drop a turn.
I actually didn't know this detail about him. I mean, given that he can be like a budget Van, that he's a great rainbow. Like, I mean,
that's the thing.
For anyone that doesn't have
he does have
great.
The whole thing was he can't break plus Mirage because of his multicast
No. He can't break in Mirage, but he can still, like, 80% breaks are still rare. Like, that's still relatively rare.
Not really.
Well,
I feel like
they are,
a slightly lower break percentage trading for better durations and some off utility of some of the older breakers is probably going to be better.
Yeah.
Sure,
but listen, he's got triple cast. This triple cast, he can include a 84% defense break on turn 1, which is pretty nice, right? He can buff his own defense and mitigate his own physical damage taken for 10 turns. He can buff his own attack by 200%. He can do a Mirage for the team on demand with an attack break that's 65%. Like, he can do a bunch of cool things. Like, he's a solid 7-star. The problem is, as you guys said,
he has things.
NV is now a thing, unfortunately. So
one thing that I get about certain, like, when I'm looking forward to other 7-stars, is that it feels like they had a good 7-star in mind, and then they stripped away a part of their kit so that they can awaken the NV in the future or something. And this is the feeling that I get looking at Rufus Shinra. Like, he looks like there is inklings of a great idea in the kit, and then they stripped away parts of it so that when we NV awaken him, he can finally awaken his, good moves to make him better.
If you even get NV Awakening for him.
But
we saw this in action.
We
saw this in action with Sylvie and Esther when they stripped away parts of their kit to make them not as good. But NV didn't exist, so
you need to
that's a slightly different case.
But I guess, like, the saddest thing about him is that even though I'm saying that I think 80% spammable breaks is really good, especially on a dual wield unit, because then, like, you can use it against enemies like Behemoth, etc. To land several breaks and get lucky. The problem is that if you're using his multicast, you're really, like, there's nothing else good in his multicast. You're going to give everyone 200% LB fill, and that's it. Like, you're going to break and do 200% LB fill every turn. Although, again, there is still value for 80% breaks. I don't want to let that go, because I think that's still rare.
It's something.
I mean, even with the Behemoth example for you, Bharos, he isn't really good for it because his breaks have only a 1-turn duration. So unlike Van, who you can, let's say, maybe do 1 turn of spamming breaks and then the next turn the breaks are still up, with Rufus Shinra, you have to do the breaks every turn and
he
pray
can't
that
die.
they actually
Like you can't. Like he has to be the last unit to die, and you have to finish like after because you still have breaks. You do have technically breaks on your turn as well on the next turn. So like if he dies last and you finish Behemoth, it works. But yeah, otherwise you have to have a backup breaker.
Yeah.
Because I mean he's gonna die. Every unit dies in that fight.
I mean, the one turn thing isn't as much of an issue with like if you're dispelling him anyway, and like
no, but it's an issue when he dies.
One of your 2 death immunes. He can be one of your 2 death immune slots.
Oh yeah, that's actually true. You could, but that would suck though.
It.
Then you, okay, yeah.
It would kind of suck.
Yeah.
But for his actual damage, the main thing that annoys me is similar to Bruce, where he's got like this 6 turn setup cooldown, a new beginning for Shinra, but like the mod boost for it is only for the first 3 turns of it, and then it just kind of falls off and is disappointing.
Yeah, I'm gonna address this when we get to NV. I was going to address this when we get to NV units, but now that you mention it, one of the things that they stopped doing with NV is like those stupid cooldowns where it's like certain cooldowns have a 5-6 turn cooldown and a 3 turn active on the mod boosts, and that always pissed me off. But they kind of stopped that with the new NV units.
But I get that though, you know.
I'm pretty sure Remake Cloud and Aerith both drop a turn of their buffs.
I mean, the
buffs are fine. But buffs are fine.
But,
it's the mod boost.
Yeah, but those CDs are basically brave shifts. That's like how I saw them. It's like this brief period of powering up, and then you have a cooldown period. It's exactly a brave shift because like you use that, you get mod boost for 3 turns, and then you have a 3-turn cooldown where you do like less damage or something else.
I think the problem is that like for him to be at an acceptable level as a chainer, it should have been for the whole duration.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, and 30 billion
see...
is low for 7-star units too, by the way. Like,
it is.
Anyway,
there's one last thing we haven't said about him. I'm sorry, Cotton, but there's one last thing we haven't said about him.
What more is there to say about him?
There is.
I'm
there
going
is
to
actually
and say that Rufus Shinra is a generic 7-star
He-
chainer who you should absolutely not chase because there's probably
calm
many
the
units
fuck
better
down.
than him.
He has an 84% defense break on turn 1, which is actually pretty good for DV. He can actually, be your support chainer that does, okay-ish damage or whatever, and he can break 84%, which is quite powerful. 84%
we're
is still...
stretching.
I mean, 84% is still the most powerful break we have, right, on defense.
I think
Yeah, so it's still like the strongest break you can ever get on defense,
85,
which is
85.
decent.
Also,
Okay, now I'm done. Fuck him, he sucks. Okay, I'm done.
Wait, Cotton, before you just started talking, Cotton did a great Muspel impression, and I just realized, where's Muspel?
I was going to say, just because he's not here doesn't mean we have to mock him.
Anyone know where Muspel is?
But we can anyway.
Did you guys know he wasn't coming?
Yes.
Yes.
He said
Are
it
you
in
are
the
you
chat.
for real?
Said.
He said it in the chat.
You guys suck. I'm trying to...
Did you like just not realize Muspel was here?
No.
You guys,
we
you
fucked
guys
up.
did not... Yeah, you guys screwed up the joke.
It's like it's the Kevin is at home thing, right? Oh yeah, no Home Alone jokes. Okay, cool.
I mean, I get the Home Alone reference, but I don't think that was the right reference. That's what I was just gonna say.
No, because I was thinking like Hazard's experience was maybe like, oh my god, we left the kid at home. Because Muspel is the kid and Hazard is the mom.
It gets worse and
whatever.
worse.
It's okay, whatever.
We can cut this part out.
Wait, why is
guys-
Hazard the mom? Isn't Hazard the dad?
That's true.
Yeah,
hard.
but it's the mom that discovers it in the movie. Jesus, Cotton, you're so much a zoomer. You haven't even seen it.
So can we talk about Cloud? Because I think
a great
he's
movie.
the best.
Well, we are talking about the actual banner unit, Aerith.
Yes.
Are we? I thought we were talking about Cloud.
No, we're not.
I am super
Aerith.
excited to talk about
Dream
Aerith.
Dream spent a lot of time creating a beautiful list of an order of units.
I spent 5 seconds on it, guys. Please respect it.
Respect the man's work. He's pinned it to the channel. So our next unit is Aerith, not
Yes.
Cloud. Aerith.
Our very first NV that's actually switches between 2 different roles instead of 2 slight variations of the same role.
Yay.
Which is a lot of what we talked about, like when we were, theory crafting about NVs back when we knew they were coming. We talked a lot about the use of, hey, it would be really cool if we get these units that have dual roles and can switch between them. And we did.
No,
So what's the feeling?
You know how Ashe is always a broken unit because she can chain and heal at the same time? Aerith is a better version of Ashe because she can chain and heal at the same time, but with much higher mods.
She's gonna ruin the game.
True.
She's like
true.
Ash.
Well, okay, so let's talk a bit about her. So in her base form, she is a healer, but, and there is a big but, unfortunately, she does lack a bit of what we expect to be the standard healer kit. So in her healer form, she has a really weird way of dealing with ailments and break resistance. Because she doesn't have ailment and break resistance, but she does have a move that heals ailments this turn and the next turn, which is, a bit special.
Yeah, it's
because you're still going to get screwed by Confuse.
Great.
And
especially as the heal on the turn you use it is really weak as well. But I suppose you can still double cast it with a strong one. But it's just kind of weird that it's attached to such like a weak heal.
Like,
yeah,
this
exactly.
It's the main lacking point of her kit.
This is an NV unit. Like, she should be clearly head and shoulders above the other healers.
Yeah, so my thing is like,
head and shoulders
I'm
above
guessing
other healers in terms of her actual healing output. Like, isn't she?
Yeah, but like in raw HP output, like who cares?
But if you put that aside,
well, our current stuff is still plenty.
Yeah, but
I think the main thing is they were probably being cautious because she has that another role as well. Like, if she was spending both forms on healing ability, then she would definitely, I would say, have been clearly at the top. But because, she's both a healer and a mage, they didn't want to make her the best healer and an amazing mage. Yeah.
Well, I see it like this. So if you just forget that she can't do, like, or if you not forget, if you accept that you can't do ailment resistance and break resistance, and you fill this in your team in some other way, you bring Sylvie or whatever, I don't know, you're still dealing with a healer that has really strong heals, excellent mitigation, like type mitigation, 45% for both magic and physical, and can also give this huge barrier to your tank to kind of further cement it for these really tricky fights like Behemoth. Unless Behemoth was like, trivialized by Tifa now, but
I think other than the ailment and break immunities, her healing kit is very solid. Yeah. There's a couple other areas that's a bit weak in, like her MP recovery is not great.
Yeah, that sucks.
And her single target re-raise is not that good either because it's only a 30%.
Yeah, it's the Serena where she kind of does it to herself and to another target, but it's only 30% when revived, which sucks.
Yeah, and other than that, I think she has to use her Grandis for re-raise, which she's only got 2 uses of.
Because the problem with her re-raise is that so many times what you need re-raise for is to re-raise your tank after a burst, like your cover tank. And what you want to do, of course, is have your cover tank back at 100% health so they can still eat the AoEs that are coming after that burst, right? The problem with Aerith is, of course, if your tank comes back at 30% health, they're not going to be eating that much.
To die again.
So that is definitely a problem. Yeah.
One thing that I want to point about Aerith, sorry, Hazard, I know you would say thing, but was that if she came out after we had an NV tank who like had 30k HP or something, or even more, let's just say like hypothetically speaking, we get an NV unit that has like more than the current allotted 20k HP, or not allotted, but like what common tank HP is 20k. If we get a bigger HP threshold to heal, then her healing ability would actually become useful. Because sometimes, and this is only sometimes, I have a 31k health Vossler. And Kiraja, at one point,
Jesus.
That's awfully telling.
Didn't fill it up. So, I feel like if she came out after an NV tank, we'd feel like her heals are more worth it. But at this moment, we're like, who needs extra heals? Courage is going to heal literally anything. So,
yeah.
I mean, TBH, just use Lena's mod boosted Curaja.
Yeah.
Or just use Rena.
You all laughed at me saying that was good.
But I still want to say, so, and we did, I don't know if we touched on this, but in her healer form, she also does have a chaining ability that heals, and if you like use it with a dupe, you're gonna heal up your entire team, or she can just use it twice herself. Problem is, it's non-elemental, but it's still there for...
So the damage from it's not...
Yeah, and the damage output is not amazing in her healer form at all. But it's still there, so it's like you can still also support chain, heal, and do something else with her on that turn if you need. As long as you have a partner that's CWA.
Yeah.
And...
Yeah, I think it's something you're probably not going to use with a dupe.
Yeah,
but,
exactly.
Yeah, as support chaining another separate Chaos Wave Awaken, it could be useful. Though I guess the problem with that is she only has double cast in base form, and most Chaos Wave Awakened is triple or quad.
Exactly. It's more like you have a single
it's
cast
still
Chaos
something.
Wave Awaken somewhere else, and then you use those two to kind of build a support chain that you cap with a Tifa or two Tifas, for instance. That could be a thing that works.
That could definitely work.
But yeah, let's talk about her actually like a lot more useful form.
I think Hazard wanted to talk.
Oh, sorry, Hazard, go ahead.
No, it's fine. It's just, I don't know. Like, I feel like there's a lot of drawbacks, and there shouldn't be for an NV level unit. I think, like, I'm a little disappointed in Aleem, although I shouldn't be. It's my own fault for being disappointed because they disappoint me every single time I ever look at anything they do. Like, that nothing ever makes sense. But I think I'm really just disappointed in Aerith this time. Like, by the way, I got Aerith for free on a free poll, so I am now 3 for 3.
Same as your other two NVs.
I am now 6 straight banners getting the banner unit for free. So thank you, Kimmy. I appreciate the sponsorship. But when I got her, and then I finally looked up her kit, and I was like, "What did they do? Why are they doing this?
Yeah.
Like, why would I use her
the
over
thing
anyone else?"
It is
thing
the
about Aerith
first.
that makes so weird to me is that like everything that Bharos mentioned that's good about it, like she has big healing, she has good type mitigation. In the future, other support NV units get all of this spread out to them as well. Like the 45% type mitigation, you're going to see that in other NV units quite often. So, and it's like as if Aerith was like the first NV unit that they made that wasn't a DPS, and they were just testing the waters. That's the feeling that I get.
That is the thing. That's exactly what happened.
They're being careful to leave both room for healer growth within NV area and being careful because of the dual role thing.
Yeah, because her other role is still her most powerful role right now, and will be like in the future as well, until, as Shadow said, we get tanks that need to be healed. But I still I still want to stay on the fact that she's still a really good healer, but underwhelming if you look at it from the NV aspect, because there are other healers very close to her that are not NVs.
Who is 7-star. Yeah.
So it's kind of...
Yeah, and it's really anticlimactic that our best healer in the game right now is still Dr. Aiden, like after 10 months in this game. So it just seems a bit weird.
Rena is the best healer, okay? Take that back.
No, he is.
Yeah, I'm gonna start saying Rivera is the best healer in the game from now on. Like, if that's the benchmark.
Well, but let's look at if you compare her to Rena or Lena, right? I still can't tell you that NV Aerith is better than any of those three.
Well, she definitely has a different niche, though.
But her niche is something that doesn't exist right now.
And the ailment and break immunity, unlike a lot of the other support thing, it's something that's basically only found on healers with a couple of exceptions like Sylvie. So if you need those things, using her as a healer makes your team building a lot more restrictive to be able to include them still.
Which is what I would say is the biggest problem with her kit, because she has some really good stuff, like the 5k barrier, the 45% magic mitigation, huge heals. So she would excel on high hitting trials, but it's the thing that you're expecting your healer to bring the ailment mitigation and the break mitigation, and filling that from somewhere else might not always be as trivial as you'd think, because there's not that many units that actually have it while still having a decent secondary kit. Like Sylvie is literally the only one that comes quickly to mind. There's probably a couple of others, but
yeah. But it's as if a healer didn't come with raise or re-raise or raise or full raise. You'd be like, wait, but that's part of your job. Why is that missing from your kit? And that's
I get it. That's the feeling now.
For me.
Yeah, exactly. I get it, and I get it. It's 100% true, because you will have to, unfortunately, opt out of your awesome shiny NV unit for trials where your healer is the only one you can bring that would have to protect against ailments. which is a shame.
She's still lovely though, Bharos. I support you in your decisions.
She is. I would have loved to get her.
Sprite's great. Her sprite
I pulled as hard as I could, but nothing, and I am so sad and depressed about this. But yeah, let's talk about her better role. Let's talk about her better role, because she has some really interesting stuff going on in Brave Shift.
Yeah. There is also her Brave Shift. The other half of her kit.
Which is actually really interesting. So she retains AoE Revive and even her strong heal, AoE heal, in her Brave Shift form. So she can still kind of back up heal if you need it. But she gains a lot of damage. Who wants to tell us about her damage? Dream, maybe you.
Well, one of the methods.
It's light locked magic chaining that is obviously the best mage in the game currently, and about on par with like NV Rain on the physical side. And it's very simple. You just kind of use her Grandis, her magic buff, and then spam quadcast Ray of Judgment.
It was the easiest chaining calcs I've done in a while. Just saying.
Yeah, it was so nice and simple. She'll drop off a bit after turn 10 because she'll no longer have any more uses of her Grandis.
But that's true for many NVs now.
And light boost. Yeah, but even after that, it's still not bad. So yeah, she is a very strong mage now currently too.
Yeah, and there's one cool thing to be said. So she also has a couple of single hit abilities and some that are unlocked that hit pretty hard. Thing is that she can self cap, and so that's good. But the problem is, of course, as you heard, she has light chains. So like it would be weird to self cap fire on a light chain if fire is your element of choice. That's a bit wonky. But as long as you can use light, there is a cool use for her, which is that she can actually self-cap her own chains with a light ability that also heals your entire party. And using 2 Aeriths, you're actually getting quite a high damage number, like higher than any of our NVA chainers, while still healing your party to full every turn. So that's still pretty cool.
So yeah. She can break
the game. So she can break the game, exactly. No, but it is a cool use of it, because now you can actually start to do like some cool team comps where you're using Aerith for your heals and then you're bringing something else. So I like that. That opens up.
Actually, I do have a question. How does the damage stack up against say, Kuja?
She does more.
I think it's like almost maybe 50% better than Kuja.
Yeah, it's almost
on average, probably a little
higher.
higher.
Do keep in mind that like Kuja could beat like every trial, or that was a couple of weeks ago, but I still think it's true. Like Kuja could beat every trial in JP up until like the latest one, or I think no, not the late. I think Cesar said up until Shiva.
No, Kuja
right?
gets through about it's through about half of the current JP trials that we don't have. I think.
Okay.
That's a very rough estimate, but I know there's a few he can't handle and a few he can.
Yeah, it's like Kuja does about 100 billion and Aerith does about 160. Yeah, like that's what I have.
160, 170.
So it's like
sort of thing.
That sort of damage jump isn't worth it for a lot of people. Like if you're pulling for nostalgia sticks, that's great because she's still not a bad unit. Like she's
really, really good.
Yeah.
Overall.
But as I understand it, it's going to be a while until we get a better mage, because we're getting Sol soon, but Sol is not that much better. He's going to be like 10% higher than her or something like that, according to the JP sheet.
The main thing with Sol is his vision.
Yeah,
true.
Yeah, Sol is not that much stronger, though he does have 2 elements instead of
exactly.
one.
Yeah, the next big jump will be Terra, right? But then she's more of a summon limit break finisher.
She's a summoner, and what Alim did with summoners is really weird.
I mean, it's kind of
let's not talk about Terra now. I'm super excited about Terra. She breaks the game, but
we will save her. She's
very good.
There is also New Phasalis is a mage, and she's like twice as strong as Sol.
Isn't she a gun mage?
Yeah, her weapon selection is weird still, but you can just use AIKD STMR. Or like
you can just use AIKD's STMR,
Yeah,
it's easy.
All you casuals, just pick it
Pull that out of your ass.
You use... or the 3-star TMR materia for Equip Rod. Yes. With 30% magic.
Which does make a lot more sense.
And it's not even that much worse.
Actually, I do have one more question. So, Brave Shift Aerith has all the Cetra, Firaga, Blizzaga, and Tandaga finishing skills. Like, how is the finishing damage when using those skills?
You mean just the finishing moves?
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know, they gain 15 from the,
Are they
10 from the grandest plus 30. It's like
Actually,
they're probably like, I don't even think they're stronger than her chaining.
I mean, I'm thinking of like
They're
those,
probably almost as strong as her chaining.
those
But I can
those
imagine
element
a
DV stages, yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine a scenario in DV that you might want to do this, but the
that's
but
useful.
the question that I have is,
I don't know
how
how quick they
fast
are.
does this land? Like, can it land?
Okay,
all
not
five?
fast at all.
Okay,
Is it real slow? Okay,
I mean, maybe it can
Maybe
fit
not.
into a quad CVA, right? I mean,
Probably
anything
not all
can fit
four
into
of
a
them.
quad CVA.
Probably not 4 of them, like they're really
Maybe.
long frames.
Oh, really? Oh, that's a shame. Well, I mean, they are made to kind of self-cap with, though.
Someone can test that out.
Well, that's the interesting point here, I think, is where do you find a role for Aerith in your team? Because, as we've mentioned, she does have some drawbacks as a healer that are difficult to replace by many relevant units at this point. And, you know, Bharos, you mentioned the 2 Aeriths chaining / healing, but it's non-elemental. And I don't know how effective that's going to be. So would Tifa be okay as your healer / finisher, I think, is kind of the question, with a specific team comp to help make up for some of those things she lacks?
I mean, I would personally use her mostly as a support chaining healer. Like a healer that can do support chains for a... Like if I only had her EX0, then I would use her as a support chaining healer for my Tifas, for instance.
Because the thing is, with her being as a healer again, there's a fair amount of fights that you don't need ailment resistance buffs because they don't have any ailment
Exactly.
imperils. You can just gear people for them, and then it's not really an issue. And then, like, her type medications can be really, really good with certain team comps. Like, I think she could pair well with, like, Cecil doing stat buffs or whatever in general.
And still keep in mind that if you're using her as in her Brave Shit form, as a chainer / healer, because you're self-capping the healing skill, you're still gonna get incredibly high damage, like by our current standards. Like she's still gonna do more damage than our highest NVA as a chainer and healer that's gonna heal up your team full. But that also frees up your healer slot. So you can actually, you could bring also a Tifa or also something else that can finish really hard into those chains that are really big. So that's, I think, the coolest use for her, which I would have loved to get her because I'm so excited about trying some team comps with that.
yeah, and I completely agree with you that she's an interesting unit in that sort of aspect. But there's the downside of knowing what JP got is that her as an NV unit pales in comparison to what we got in Furion or FaZe or Terra or any of the Kingdom Hearts unit. It's like
But
this.
you still have to, but she's so early. You have to keep that in mind. Like they're still experimenting. It is what it is, right?
Yeah. In JP, I think I would have pulled for it just because Aerith is a great unit, but as a great character. But like the thing is, we know what JP got like a few weeks down the line. It isn't like we're not that far away from Soul as much as people think we might be.
No.
Like.
Yeah, but I'm
it's
still
like
gonna
1
say
month at the most.
Soul won't do shit for me because what I want about Aerith is to try a bunch of strats where I'm using her as a chainer healer
And
with a
yeah,
Kappa.
that's definitely fair. It's just
I think you pulled Soul
sucks
for his
that we
card.
know the future.
Yeah, it
Of
does.
what's
It
going to
does.
happen?
We've said
which
this
is-
many times. Like we're ruined by the fact that we know what's coming in JP because it kind of steals a bit of the joy of units sometimes.
Well, which is why you should just revel in the joy of the units that you like, because the meta is going to always change. And
Exactly.
if you like,
Yep.
like we had some comments on our Reddit post last week about NV Rain, and some people really liked NV Rain and were kind of disappointed that we hadn't spent more time discussing a kit. And I get it.
I tried. Okay.
Well, the thing is, like, we just, we don't have
know
the
what,
same
Hazard?
nostalgia for all the same units. So I'm going to spend more time on FFT units. You just know that because that's me. But I would say we'll try and do a better job of that and try and spend. We've clearly spent a lot of time on every unit so far in this this episode.
Yeah,
And I think the reason you guys skipped out on MV Rain is because you didn't have me. I have every single Rain STMR in this game.
yeah,
That's how
Shadow.
much-
Where the fuck were you? Because I was like alone pining for Rain. I did get my Rain, whoop, but like I was alone pining for Rain, no backup. Okay, I would have needed you.
Yeah. You definitely... that was the worst episode not to be there.
Hello.
Anyways, to finish my sentence,
I was right.
which is we're not going to be able to spend probably as much care and time as you'd like on every unit. We'll try and do a better job, but enjoy your unit. Like enjoy the unit you pulled for. Enjoy those characters, because I think NV is going to slow power creep a little bit, which is a good thing. And they're clearly out of ideas for new units. They're just going to retread the old units a whole other time.
Yeah.
So your favorite unit's coming, unless it's CG Ramza. So just enjoy it.
And you're right, Hazard. We should pull with our hearts and not our dicks. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do a 500 pull on Aerith Banner live, hoping together. Like, this would be a great moment. So I need you all to pool energy for me. We did this last episode and it didn't fucking work. So you need to pool your energy better.
This again. I mean, that said, the moment last episode went live, you got Cloud and then, like, Rain within a
Holy
day.
shit, wait, you are not wrong. Okay, we're doing this again. Okay. So you need to pull your energy to me, because I'm doing this
Bharos.
500 pull.
I got you.
I'm pressing now.
I'm pressing now. And steal Bharos' lap.
Okay, listen. We need to feel this. Is it coming down red?
NV Hazard Luck.
Is it coming
NV
down
Hazard
red?
Luck.
It's fucking blue. My fucking...
I don't want to feel anything.
Well,
Oh
I
my
did a
God.
Pikachu, and it is coming down.
I know this
Ooh,
blue.
hold on.
I know
It broke
this is
to yellow. It broke to yellow. Anything can still happen. Okay? The dream is still
No.
alive.
Mine is blue.
Dream, are you okay?
No, I am not. Okay.
It's unfortunately just a yellow.
I'm not alive.
I'm sorry, everyone. I couldn't do it. I really
Can I
want to
just
pull out.
add
Oh, well.
that
You'll get her in like 4
I know
days.
this conversation's already long-winded as it is, but to just add to the fact about the idea of power creep is that I want to just agreeing with Hazard said, but the idea that ever since NV started coming out in JP, like after there was a level of about 2 or 3 months where all damage was about plateaued and they stopped kind of creeping each other. But the other thing is that I think FFB is the only gacha game that I know that has a fixed schedule that releases every Thursday. And every Thursday, because of this sort of fixed schedule, we always get a power creep within the next 2 or 3 weeks. The power creep that FFB experienced in the last 6 months is faster than any gacha game that I've ever played.
Yeah, that's so weird. Like, they could have just slowed it down a little bit by having banners last longer. It's like, yeah.
Yeah, like, I know, like, I always bring this up as a comparison, like Fire Emblem Heroes, they sometimes go, like, 2 weeks without a new unit. And that's fine, because they still have other content to fill it out. You don't always need to have new units every week, but Aelin always look like they want to, for some reason. I don't know.
Right, shall we get back on track and do a quick, boring unit that we actually can skip over?
Yes.
It's NVA Cloud.
Wait.
He's a better NV, though, just saying.
He has... Is he, though? He has no innate element support of his own, so you kind of just have to babysit him on that. He has a whole mess of different chaining families, including Octaslash as his best one. Remember, everyone who uses that.
Beowulf?
Or you can also, if you really want to be dupe only, use his Brave Shift Limit Burst chaining.
Oh, boy.
His Brave...
Yeah, it all just results in, like, mediocre chaining damage.
I want to just say that his Brave Shift Limit Burst is, like, backloaded quite a bit. So, in a sense, I feel like if you babysit...
It chains well, it's pretty strong.
If you babysit him, like you mentioned, Dream, he could be decent if you don't have any... If you never pull for NV units, right? Like, on purpose, because the rates are trash or something, Cloud NVA could do a serviceable job in the upcoming DV for you. Just as a finisher.
What if you have Tifa?
I mean, that's the thing. Like, every NV is still serviceable on damage, and they are fine. It's the similar sort of story as Dark Veritas, really, because Cloud NVA is not much stronger than Dark Veritas NVA.
Yeah, but he also needs a bit more external support.
They're still very much at they're at a serviceable, acceptable level to use to still do well on content. They're fine, but yeah, he doesn't really, I don't think, have anything much interesting going for him. He just has attack buffs and damage.
And luckily,
moves.
if this flavor of Cloud is not your
limit
favorite,
buffs.
there are at least 2 other Clouds that you can choose from.
Yeah, how many Ramsas do we have now? Do you keep count, Hazard?
Just 2.
There's 2 of them.
And both aren't very good, are
The
they?
last one was released like 3 years ago.
Wait, but we only have 3 Clouds.
There's
There's
4.
4.
NVA Cloud,
Cloud
OG
AC.
Cloud, and then AC Cloud.
Original, Remake,
AC Cloud.
AC, and Kingdom Hearts.
Wait, which one did I miss?
AC Cloud, Kingdom Hearts Cloud.
Kingdom Hearts?
Oh, but I don't count Kingdom Hearts Cloud.
I mean, it counts, right? He's also a cloud.
No,
And he's a Kingdom
he's
Hearts.
from an entirely different game. It's not
It's
even the same character.
thing.
AC Cloud isn't even from a game.
No, but he's at least from that universe and continuity. Whereas Kingdom Hearts Cloud is from.
I'm pretty sure Kingdom Hearts Cloud is also canon.
No, he's the brother of
But original
Sephiroth
and remake
bullshit.
Cloud aren't from the same continuity.
Well, okay, technically they are brothers, but I mean, like in Kingdom Hearts, it feels like it's more spoken out.
This was supposed to be the quick
Okay,
unit,
fuck Cloud.
guys.
Okay, I mean,
You would.
I would.
Hey, this is a very important discussion, okay?
We've
the merits of
established
the
this
different
already.
clouds.
Yeah, who
Come
would fuck
on.
Cloud? Okay, let's go. But like
No.
host by host.
Red 13. Red 13.
No.
Oh, that's not what you meant, Cotton.
Oh god.
Wait, has it?
The timing.
That was
has
a
our
bad time for
timing.
that.
What did I do? Oh, no. Oh, I'm saying we're moving on to Red 13. Get your minds out of the gutter.
Yeah, so who would fuck Red 13? So he's a dog, so that's a bit weird. I mean,
Red
you know, like,
13
I
is
don't
an
judge-
interesting
I don't
chainer
judge.
because he does really good damage against the killers that it's applicable for. Is what I'm good.
His training mods are really low, though, which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
His main source of just like full-on damage is his Brave Shift Limit Burst, like using that as a finisher, and like because his Brave Shift duration is 3 turns, you want to like charge it up before Brave Shifting, and then Brave Shift, Limit Burst, use the middle turn to like recharge his gauge with Crimson Roar, and then Limit Burst again to get like
Yeah,
two
the Brave
caps
Shift that's
within each
available
Brave
after
Shift.
turn 4. Yeah.
Yeah, let's
a
not
shame
beat
that
around the bush
takes
on
a
why
while to
Red 13 was created, because there's one very, very simple reason for why he exists. Can someone tell us
There
what
is?
that is?
Why?
Do
can't.
you-
I'm
Crickets? I mean,
I don't want to know
no,
what
he's
Bharos is
obviously
gonna say.
made to destroy Behemoth. Like it's incredibly obvious that his NVA just trivializes the fight, but that's the only thing he's useful
Actually,
for.
an okay reason.
Doesn't Tifa already destroy Behemoth?
But
No, Tifa very rarely destroys Behemoth, but like if you do,
it needs a bit of.
I
a
mean, I
specific
actually
thing.
tried to build a Tifa for Muspel yesterday, and like I still have a ton of STMRs and shit, and it was still tough. Like I got just above the limit, and you know, like it was I was so close to or just above the limit so closely that like variants could still fuck it. So you do need two very wailed out Tifas.
Yeah.
Or at least like Tifas that have killers. That was my biggest drawback. I don't have the killer STMRs.
Speaking of killers,
And not just
Red 13 has 3 awesome killers that he does 150% for Beast, Demon, and Reaper, which is great for DV because Reaper and Beast especially are a little bit more difficult to come by. And he does triple Stardust Ray, so that's really nice.
He actually works incredibly well with Zon because he has those 3 strong killer
the
buffs.
300%.
300%
Wait, why are we talking
attack
about Red's
buff,
normal kit?
and can fire wind and darken
Yeah.
you. So that's all on turn 1. So that's a lot for Zon to
I mean,
see.
he's been really good.
So that's
Red
tasty.
13 has been really good in DV all this time, even before his NV Awakening.
No, but before his MV.
Yeah, but now his killers are on demand instead of through a dumb
Yeah,
counter, and also the 300%
Yeah.
attack buff.
Yeah, like he's gonna be really good for DV when his killers apply, especially. So he's not a bad unit. I still think of the 2 awakenings that we call it, Cloud was more interesting to me, just because he does damage.
I disagree.
You're just a
That was
numbers
boring.
slave.
According to
Aren't
Reddit,
we
I
all?
am. So I'll live by
Plus red burst sire.
It's okay. Like, you don't have to be ashamed of liking big numbers. Like, some people want to fuck dogs, you know? Like,
Yeah, and those people
Moving
should
on.
be. Yeah, all right, I'm not gonna. Nope,
Moving
not
on.
gonna do it.
Anyway, red useful,
Red,
Yes.
yes.
even if he's not the
red
strongest.
useful, not strongest.
That is the moral of this
All
fairy
right, so
tale.
I wanna check everyone's NV temperature before we end the episode because we've had it for a few weeks now. We're now on the third banner of NV. How's everyone feeling about the changes to the game?
So do you want to check my NV temperature orally or anally? What's your weapon of choice?
I think with the last few weeks, I'm still a bit Like, I don't have a full opinion yet, just because we know in JP they got better rates after a few weeks, and they started giving out. There started being a bit more guarantees for safety, like a bit more slightly. And the other thing is that like one thing that bites me or that irks me is that we only get 40 shards of the unit instead of 50. Like, they're fucking teasing us or something. Yeah.
Well, so they want you to do one pull. Like, they want you to do one 10+1 pull to get the unit that you want.
The fact that they're giving us 20...
Yeah, there's several sources
but
of those.
The fact that they're giving us 20 instead of multiples of 25 or 5 is kind of indicative that they don't know how the game works, or that they just didn't really pay attention to it. Yeah. Because that 20 will never be useful for anything, because it'll be 20 exactly or 45. Well, no, but
I think
it doesn't help you.
The thing is, all of these shard amounts would be fine if we had the daily shard dungeon, so that really needs to be added.
Yeah, but we are getting that, so we don't have to be worried. Like, we don't have.
But what I'm saying, Bharos, right now though, you either have 20 or you have 45.
Yeah.
So that 20 is absolutely worthless. They're completely useless until we get that shard dungeon. So
yeah, but it's,
what's even more infuriating from my perspective is that Gumi knew this, and they didn't think to address it.
But they're doing it on purpose, because you want to either have like slightly below or slightly above what you need. Because if you're slightly below, then you're really incentivized to get that final hump in some way.
But the problem is the final hump is 25. So the 20 doesn't actually matter, help you.
Because what's going to happen then is you're going to be 20 above, right? And when you're 20 above, then it's like, oof, but I'm pretty close to the next level. Maybe, I can pull a bit more and get a couple.
But it's an illusion, Bharos. Don't fall for it.
It's very intentional.
Isn't that what you did, Bharos?
I think that would have made more sense if the number of shards in the Lapis shop amounted to something that could equal.
Why are you so focused on the numbers, Jesus?
Because
it's just a bait.
Because
get it.
Because giving us 20 is exactly the same as giving us 0.
You are the guys. No. You are the guys that can't raise the stereo to like 15 because 16 is a better number. Now I get it.
It just makes more sense from a, I guess, revenue perspective too. I think if you the amount of NV shards that you give, maybe instead of like 25 or instead of like 40 or in increments of 20, you give it on increments of 5, and then you sell the rest in your shop, so that people are incentivized to buy it if they pull one rain. Like for example, Hazard got rain last week, or fucking Aerith this week, so he'd be more incentivized to pull or buy the shards from the shop. But no, he's not.
I mean, the 40s are fine because there's several ways to get the 10s with the overdrive tickets and now the VIP coins as well.
Yeah, they do release...
like the 5k bundles
for those 50. Who don't know, they are actually releasing the shards
for the
Last Year Banner units, Last Year Banner NVA units in the VIP shop. Yeah. I just realized that.
And did you realize you also ran over Dream halfway through a sentence?
No.
Dream loves it, okay?
Yeah, Dream loves it.
I wouldn't say that, but I
really actually wanted to hear what Dream was going to say.
I wanted to hear what Dream was saying, but then
it was really interesting, and then there was something like train came right through the stage.
Dream, could you please repeat that? I want to hear that.
I mean, I was just saying that like the 40s are kind of fine because there's a bunch of ways to make the 10s, but the 20s are like they do not make sense currently because
that's just a simple bait. That's the bait. It's like you got 20.
But like it doesn't even work as a bait because it is the same as 0. It's not enough to encourage you to do a little bit more to get over the line.
See it.
I think
if you have a brain...
For when it's like 20 out of 50, I think
you really have to just rub 2 brain cells together to figure this one out. You really,
but
really
that's not... Okay.
Daily shard dungeon ASAP.
Are you saying to use like intelligence in a game that's all about fucking RNG and where like all the fallacies come together to make people spend? Because like...
Please don't fuck the RNG.
It's a bait. That's all it is. Like...
But it's a terrible bait, is what we're saying.
But it's not, because I'm sure it works.
It doesn't.
Can we stop moving on?
I'm trying to do Gumi's job better. Dream and Hire are trying to help Gumi make more money, but it's not working.
Remember when all of
my
us were going to
gosh.
talk about like how we
I'm
felt
sorry.
about it?
I'm in tears. Dream, you killed me, man. Oh my gosh.
This is the sound of a dying man.
I can't handle it. I can't.
He is just
When is he
literally
not
dying.
dying?
I hope he doesn't die. I wouldn't want him to die.
So speaking of dying, my interest in this game has really been dying since NV came out. And
Yeah, that's weird.
it is funny because I've gotten every unit for free, so I haven't experienced the gacha at all, or the rates.
Damn it, Hazard.
But like the Tifa, the Tifa enhancement thing just ran out. I did one of them because I just couldn't be bothered to do
Ours
it.
to do it.
I just couldn't be bothered.
Yeah, you're finally learning to not be an
Yeah.
obsessive completionist. That is what you should do.
I know, but it's really hard for me to do that though, because usually when that happens, I also quit the game, and I have this podcast, and I don't want to quit the game because if I still feel this way in a month, then maybe I'll consider something like that. But I don't know. It's just been really difficult, I think, because a couple things just don't make sense to me in NV. Number one is, why are we enhancing units that just came out? Like, shouldn't enhancements be saved for when we need them? Like, why are we enhancing units that are released today?
Yeah.
Today. It's just creating grind for no reason. It's creating a new set of currency, which is all these little triangle things that you have to farm, and these little like galaxy orbs with the person's face on it that you have to grind.
The pogs.
The pogs.
Yeah, but I mean, come on. Like, of course you know why.
But
No.
Isn't this just War of
Yeah.
the Visions Light, which
Yeah.
you say you love?
But in War of the Visions, it actually makes sense to do it, and it's actually meaningful, and the power creep.
Whoa. Okay,
isn't
now
bad.
I want to hear this.
What- define those things with like actual concrete evidence.
Well, because you're
What physically makes them different?
Number one is investing in a unit. Okay, first of all, the power creep is slower. Units are only released
That's a
every
good
2
point.
weeks.
That's a
every
good
2
point.
weeks, right? And there's basically very, very little power creep, so you can. And the game is designed to take time to invest in units and build up units. It takes weeks, if not a month, to really get a unit to its full potential. Whereas here, it's just, you can do it in a day if you really wanted to, right? You can just grind it all out and be done. But there's a sense of investment in War of the Visions that you don't have in FFBE, and we haven't had it for 4 years. So why are they trying to implement that now? I don't know. It just doesn't make a lot of sense to do that.
But that's exactly the point, because like if they so all the other enhancements are out the window. You're never gonna be doing ability awakenings for anyone else anymore, right, etc. But
they are.
So what
They're gonna
they didn't
continue them
want to
in
do is
November.
just have everyone that has hoarded up 5 million crystals to just use those to do new enhancements. They had to introduce a new currency to kind of give you the same feeling of progression. Although I do agree with you, Hazard. Even though I felt that it was fun the first week when I got Tifa and I like slowly had to kind of share my energy between MK and her insignias and shit to kind of slowly level all her brave abilities up, I did feel a sense of accomplishment. But I do know also that like in 2 weeks, it's not going to be there anymore because we're all going to have infinite amounts of these materials, which sucks.
Once again, may I introduce you to the Daily Shard Dungeon, which I think will make a much better sense of that kind of long-term progression, because you will be able to slowly work towards, like, EX1, EX2, EX3 for units that you've only pulled one of, and get actual, like, much more meaningful
I agree that will
rewards and
help,
upgrades.
but the problem is they're still releasing units every week, and it's not just one. It's one or two,
Yeah, the
and
brave
it's like
ability
one,
things
maybe
do
two
feel a bit
NVs,
redundant.
and 1 or 2 or 3 wherever NV Awakening units as well. So the sense of investment can't really be there unless they change the way they structure their release. Or they really slow down the power creep and they make sure everyone knows that they're doing so that it actually makes some sense to invest in these units. Because otherwise it's just like, it just seems like grind for the sake of grind. As Bharos said, right, they introduced a new currency to do the exact same thing that enhancements did and the exact same thing that latents did. Latents were just a reprint of enhancements, and pogs are just a reprint of that. Like, it's a new currency to do the exact same thing, and it feels way less purposeful, as I mentioned, because we're enhancing units that are brand new instead of enhancing units that actually need a buff.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, similar to that, now that you mentioned latents, you know, we had the thing where for a couple weeks, units were released with latents, and like JP still kept doing the thing of releasing a unit and then having part of their kit locked behind the series boss battle. And we had a couple weeks where it's like, oh, you have to buy their latent abilities now, and then Gumi very quickly stopped doing that and just added it to their base catch, which was great. So yeah, like Brave abilities are quite redundant because yeah, when enhancements and stuff are like revisiting old units, giving them another bump up closer to the current level, that's great. But yeah, when they're brand new.
But I mean, everyone knows that the Brave abilities is just a way to try to bring War of the Visions job wheel into Brave Exvius, because it's kind of like, yeah, you get this unit and now you have to enhance their abilities before the abilities are actually strong. I mean, it's exactly the same in War of the Visions.
But also the difference there is you only have 2 weeks to do that. Like, I missed out on Tifa. I'm not going to get her abilities enhanced for however long until we get the Shard Dungeon, right? Or the Pogs, whatever.
We're getting the reruns, though. That's going to happen, and it's fairly frequent, as I understand it.
I know, but it's just...
Yeah.
But I mean, it's the same in War of the Visions, because if you miss out on the unit's release week, you're not going to get it for 6 months. Like, I mean, I got kill-fed just as her banner went out, and I am fucked in the butthole. Like,
Yeah, that sounds so much worse.
I mean, it's like 10 times worse in War of the Visions. I'm sorry, Hazard. I know you like War of the Visions, and I do too. I enjoy my time in it a lot. But it's like a lot worse if you miss the on-banner unit time
really isn't.
Than it is here.
90% of my units are units I got after their banner was up, and almost all of them are maxed now. And Killfae I just got the same as you. I'll have her maxed in like 3 or 4 weeks, and guess what? She'll still be really, really freaking good.
How are you going to have her maxed in 3 or 4 weeks? Did you pre-buy her shards?
No, there's a way. We can talk about this later, but there's definitely more ways to do it. But I think the time limitedness is what bothers me about these enhancements, and the fact that they don't make sense to me. But I've already said
that I want to add to this
conversation
is for a while now is that this feels like NV seems like a system that was made by a committee, in that there wasn't a one vision to one goal to it. 7-star had a focused goal, in my opinion. It was to reduce the clutter of 5-star dupes in your boxes. NV wants to do so many different things at the same time. It wants to reduce the clutter of 7 stars in your boxes. It also wants to create some sort of meaningful grind, but it really doesn't feel meaningful. And it also wanted to introduce us vision cards and that aspect of it. And it also wanted to introduce that, instead of STMRs, we get EX plus 1, EX plus 2, EX plus 3, where dupe NVs have meaning. So it's like NV is trying to resolve all of these issues at once, that it ends up doing some things terribly. And that's why I think that NV, I can't formulate my opinion about NV yet. We've only had 3 base NV units so far, and a handful of NV Awaken units. But at the same time, there's a lot of changes still coming in the way, and I think this is pretty much a conspiracy theory, but I think the reason that ALIM released this in their 4.5 anniversary instead of waiting until their 5th anniversary was because they knew that this was like a half-baked idea that they needed to keep improving. And the nature of, games of services that they always can improve. So in a sense, I feel like even in JP, we haven't reached the final level of NV yet, and there's still other quirks and things that we can make away along the way. And one of them definitely is the Brave abilities, because that shit needs to go. But
listen, I don't agree with you. I think it's blatantly obvious that the entire NV system is a carbon copy, FFBEized, of War of the Visions. A carbon copy. You have everything. You have the vision.
I don't think anyone is denying that, though, Bharos.
No, but I'm saying there is a vision. The vision is War of the Visions. that is the vision. It's to copy that verbatim, and that's exactly what they did. I think the problem you're experiencing is that but copying that verbatim doesn't work in FFBE, because they are not the same game. They don't work the same way. There's an entirely different power creep that really makes the system less meaningful. I
agree, but I will say I really like the way they've implemented vision cards. I think that's well done. I think they've done it pretty good. I also like EX1, 2, and 3 and the dupe thing. I think they've done that. I think it's mostly the Brave ability stuff that I think they tried to copy from War of the Visions, and it just doesn't work in FFBE the same way. It just doesn't work.
Because one of the things that happens with me is that we got Tifa 2 weeks ago, and I didn't have the time to the farm the Pogs. Now I can't awaken her abilities, and by the time it comes back, I'll probably have another NV ability that I really want to awaken, so I'll farm those Pogs instead. So it's one of those things where it's one of those things
play
where
War of the Visions, okay?
Yeah, well, War of the Visions kind of works because, as Hazard mentioned, they only release new units every 2 weeks. We're on the 1 week release cycle, which is really fast.
The thing is, though, Hazard, like, the amount of runs it takes to max out a full unit is like 10 to 15, which is like 1 to 2 days
which is
worth
actually
of
quite a
energy.
bit when you're running an MK and other stuff at the same time.
Yeah, that was the big problem with Tifa's event. It was that we had the MK.
Over the course of 2 weeks, you can...
The bigger problem with farming it is they have that stupid break bar on the thing. Like, there's no point in having that.
Makes them a bit annoying.
Number one, at all. But number two, on farmable bosses. Like, save it for trial bosses if you really want to implement.
Yeah, I fully agree on that one. Because that shit is bullshit for farmable boss. I'm sorry. Like, if you want to show the power of units, just make it a bulky boss that you need to explode with your new NV units, okay? But don't make it a fucking break bar. Everyone is just bringing Zon or Rosa and just breaking it turn 1 anyway, so who the fuck cares?
Yeah,
They're going to nerf Zon and Rosa in the future, you
They do
realize.
have great sprites, though.
What?
They already... No, I think Sinzar said this is the nerfed version. We already have the nerfed version. Yeah.
Huh.
Sinzar mentioned that this
Doesn't
is
feel
the
like
nerfed
it,
version.
though.
Yeah, the barrage change is not that bad.
No, but I think it's just ridiculous. I agree with Hazard that it's incredibly superfluous. Like, it shouldn't just even be there.
Yeah,
The
I mean,
concept
it's not
of
a
it
huge deal. It's
is
just kind of
cool.
silly.
They just wanted to show it off. I think it's a fine mechanic for trials, but yeah, for farmable content, it's just a pain. It's basically what it reminds me of is the Shadow Lord raid that had like the switching between
Don't
That was
remind me,
painful.
fuck.
and you had to like always wait a turn.
That
Oh
was
god, I remember that.
Yeah, just
And that was just
so
terrible.
But anyways, I'd been a little bit down on NV and FFBE the last couple of weeks, but I think there's hope. But I think the retread. I mean, the story has really gone downhill, and I think the retread of all the different units is just kind of boring. So they really just need to bring out new ideas. I just don't want to deal with the 20th FINA. Like, who cares? Like, they really got to bring. If you want to introduce a new system, make the system important for whatever content you're bringing. There's been no content. There's been no improvement in content whatsoever. It's just more grind to do the same thing in a worse way than another game, right? And we don't have to talk about
I fully agree in that. Yeah. But you know what? They could have just done what they did in War of the Visions. I don't believe that they missed the most important point of War of the Visions, which is that everything is incredibly staggered. So, very nice. You got your Warrior of Light. Excellent. So now it's going to take about 2 weeks until you have him maxed on level and... or not on level, but like on Awakenings and Limit Burst. Cool. Now you have to grind his level to 99. That's going to take a while. Awesome. Now you want to do JP. Oh, because you want to unlock it. Like, that's the Brave ability thing? Yeah, that's also going to take forever. So that's the thing. It feels meaningful because you're investing time and you're getting a payout and you know you're doing it faster than others because you are investing time in it. But in FB, it's like everyone is getting it and really fast, so it doesn't feel meaningful anymore. It's
right.
Yeah, I mean, it's the whole thing about MMOs. MMOs reward time. That's why the MMO formula worked, because if you invest a lot of time, you get a lot of payout. So you need to like imagine if it only dropped one insignia
until the next expansion when they shit on you.
One thing that happens with sorry, Dream had something to say?
I was just say with the MMO comparison that works until like the next expansion where all your stuff.
Yeah, but it's not like every expansion. But in FB the expansion comes every week. That's the big difference.
One thing
it's
that
not
I
as
feel
significant
like
as MMOs. Like you even though units get power creep, they don't get completely outdated per se. Like you can still use old units. You can still do stuff with them.
One thing that happens with FFB is, I think, especially with Brave abilities now, especially because Pogs are time limited, and so will Shard Dungeons in the future. But like Shard Dungeons come back enough, I think. Same with Pogs, that we could it'll be okay. But it's the fear of missing out. Like FOMO is a real thing in this game. Because if you miss out on those limited time provoke gear, good luck. If you miss out on those limited time, certain elemental weapons, good fucking luck. It's that idea that if I miss out on something, that I'm screwed out of the game. And then if you miss it, you kind of want to quit because you feel like you missed out on it. And I think that's the feeling that Hazard has because, and I have it too, is that if I missed out on an event because I was really busy that week, like the Tifa MK, I was super busy that week.
Yep, me too.
I missed out on DV. I didn't do DV at all. I completely missed DV. And now I'm just not as like motivated to keep playing the game because I feel like I missed out on something that everybody else got, and that feeling of FOMO is just so frustrating. When
you know what, you need to let that go. I'm sorry, but like I think that's in you, and the reason I'm saying that is because I felt this way 100 times over, and the game that actually taught me to let it fucking go is actually War of the Visions. And like, sorry for talking about War of the Visions, but War of the Visions is very grindy. And it's taught me that, hey, you know what? I can't join every event. I can't max every weapon that's coming out. I just can't. Like, I don't have that time in my life. So I just let it go. And you know what I discovered? I'm actually enjoying FFBE and War of the Visions a lot more since I just realized that, you know what, Shadow? It doesn't fucking matter. Oh, you don't have the Kiyomori? Who the fuck cares? You're gonna beat the trial anyway. And that's
the thing about FOMO is that it's inherently baked into games so that it could bait you into constantly playing. Like Destiny has it. I think when I was super into Destiny has it the most. Same with FFBE. It's inherently built into the system. So you can easily tell individuals, hey, just let that feeling go. But at the same time, it's also on Gumi and Alim who's responsible for baking these things into it. Like Brave abilities, for example, is a great example for right now. Like Pogs, Tifa's Pogs will be gone for another few weeks and you'll feel like you missed out on her enhancements. Like, that sort of feeling kind of sucks, especially in the context of DV, when you're competing with other people. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
Hazard's Tifa wouldn't be as strong as anyone else's Tifa just because he didn't enhance her. So
yeah,
that,
but I mean,
that
I'm the weakest
dumb.
person in our War of the Visions guild because of this, and you know what? Like, I haven't been kicked out yet, so I'm happy. Thank you. Please don't kick me out of the guild. I really like it there. But like, I mean, you kind of just let it go. You know, you just. It is a thing you have to do yourself because yes, you're right. The system is rigged. It's built against you. It's built to make you feel that you're missing out, so that you would invest into the game. But it's a fake feeling. It's not true. Like there is never something like, oh, you didn't enhance Tifa? Well, you're gonna get another NV. Also, Tifa is a terrible example because you don't even need her Pogs to make her be OP. So
the other example, like the other mindset that some people have, and I think maybe Hazard is, maybe I'm speaking for him, but like if you miss something, and this is the completionist mindset. If you miss something, you kind of just lose motivation to continue on playing this game, and that's why you want to quit. That's why there's this inkling of feeling you kind of just want to quit.
No,
like,
I get it.
That's the thing. Like, you can't just let it go. It's just, if you let that go, you quit the game.
No, but I felt the same way. I was about to quit War of the Visions like 4 times already. Like 4 times. And then I realized, you know what? No, I'm just going to try to let it go. And I did. And it's actually working. I'm actually having fun. Some days, I just log into War of the Visions and collect, like, do the daily stuff and nothing else. Like, I just make sure to collect my 50 Visio or whatever. And that's it.
A lot of people do that for FFBE too. So I guess that's a good... is that a good advice for all the people mad about the Gil?
It is. It
just
is.
Let it
you
go.
know, just let it go. Enjoy the game because nothing is truly limited.
Oh wow!
Yeah, because
we get a cotton singing.
No, but my point is, you're gonna enjoy the game you're playing a lot more if you just realize that you don't have to grind everything. You don't have to have everything. It is like, have the stuff you want to have and the stuff you have time to have. Like, don't exert yourself. Don't break your personal life or your work life to get stuff in a game.
No, but that's not happening. Where the opposite is happening.
No, I know.
I'm starting to play less of the game.
Or don't quit the game that you're actually enjoying just because you feel you can't get everything in it. Because, like, if you're still enjoying the game, Shadow, I know you're still going to enjoy the next trial. You're still going to have fun doing it. Even if you didn't have a single Tifa Pog, you're still going to enjoy it. Also, because we're also Rain brothers, so we're going to set up Rains so we can do the next trial. But so like, don't let that ruin enjoyment of the game. It's kind of like letting your inability to be a pro football player ruin the enjoyment of playing a football game. That's just stupid. And just don't do it.
Yeah, I don't think this is the same. But okay,
anyways,
it's the same analogy.
It sounds like you guys have a lot to say on the subject, but I haven't heard from Cotton or Dream about how they've felt about Envy, so I just want to get your guys' take real quick.
The quick take is
So I'm gonna run out over cotton now because here's the fucking train. Okay, sorry, I'm done.
I feel like Bharos just got some payback there.
Jesus, Bharos.
No, I'm with you guys. I feel like the NV system just made the game a lot more grindy. Like with all the extra stuff, you need to farm pogs, you need to farm the daily X dungeon stages, you need to grind down the break bars or things. Like the system's just got a lot more grindy. That's just my general take on it. You need to they want you to spend a lot more time invested in the game to get your nice shiny NV units up to scratch.
But would you say it was like similar to like when we needed to grind levels for 7 stars in the beginning, or kind of when enhancements first came out and you also needed to grind those materials?
See, the thing is that I don't remember having to grind that much to get levels. Probably because I didn't have that many 7 stars in the beginning anyway. In terms of enhancement materials, it is actually a lot faster to run those chamber enhancement stages than trying to grind the POG stages. Like, you can auto-chew the chamber stages. The POG stages require actual input from you.
Yeah, I think the POGs are, I guess, the worst part of it, because JP players are saying the actual shards, or whatever they are called, the triangles, they are, like, they become, you have an endless amount of them later, so you don't care about those.
Yeah, forticides are very
While,
bad.
yeah, the POGs are shitty.
Well, it's to Cotton's point, it seems like, you know, this game has always been a maintenance game, right? You maintain things. It's not a huge time commitment. You just have to maintain things on a daily basis. But they've now changed it to not only be maintaining those things, but also grinding other things at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So, Dream, how have you enjoyed NV so far? We saved the best for last.
Well, you know, of everyone, I should be the most, like, ready to quit because all of you guys have gotten at least 2 NVs now, and I'm still on 0. But I feel like I can kind of detach that and, like, recognize, like, yeah, I've been horribly unlucky and that sucks. But, like, the actual systems and stuff as well, like, I don't really mind that much. Like, honestly, it doesn't even feel that different. Like, yeah, there's a few more things to do, and like POG fights require a bit more thinking and a bit more active action, and like, I don't know, there's obviously mechanics like POGs being unit specific that I think could be improved, but I just don't care that much. It doesn't really bother me. And I'll just wallow here with my
you know what,
NVAs.
I still think you're in a good place because you know you're gonna get an NV. You know you're gonna get an NV further down the line. Yeah, you do. Of course, you're gonna get an NV, and that's still exciting.
Yeah, I mean, I will, I will pull as I have always pulled and used full amounts of lapis for guarantees because I barely ever get anything that I want.
See, but Dream, this is what we talked about in the channel. Like, it's your attitude.
This.
That's the problem with your pulling, you know? You need to change your attitude.
Yeah. And then we proved about 3 times
No. Listen. I still succeeded in pulling both Cloud and Rain with this strategy.
Pinned.
So, like, yeah, I failed on Aerith. But you know what? The weeks are not over yet. Her banner is going to be up for 2 more weeks. And plenty of chances for 500 pulls, man.
Oh god, Dream, no. Dream, just don't pull a Bharos, okay?
You exist to make me suffer.
Pull a hazard.
I know, Dream would never pull a Bharos. Dream is too smart.
Don't care about any of the units and just get them on free pulls. And just don't care. Yeah.
But you know what, Hazard? I think that has, like, ruined it a bit for you, too. Like, you didn't really have to kind of care for NVs either. Like, I am so thankful for my Cloud and Rain, because it took me so many pulls to actually get them. So,
that's true.
Yeah, I don't know.
Zero appreciation for any of the NVs that I pulled. I just don't care about them.
No, I mean, I fully see that. Like, it's kind of like, yeah, I can see that taking a bit of the excitement away from you.
Which is why you should have to work for every guild that you get instead of having it 250 million given you for free.
Well, work hard for instead of working hard for a lapis, you need to work hard for a guild.
Yeah, work hard for your rainbows, work hard for your envies, work hard for your guild.
And just work hard.
And please do not downvote me.
It's funny what you
please
say.
Don't downvote me. I'm just trying to have fun.
Listeners, if you ever listen to this part and you hear Hazard asking you to work hard for a guild, please let him know what you think of that in the comment section.
All right.
Yeah, please, like, let us know.
No one's
let us know with
listening
your
this
most
far into
colorful
the
language.
podcast.
Yeah, that's true. Like, we're almost 2 hours in. Like, let us go. Let's go.
Well, says the person who was talking about War of the Visions endlessly.
Well, I wasn't really talking about War of the Visions. I was using it as an analogy to explain why you should let stuff go in FFBE.
I just want to say, if Muspel was here, he would have gone nuclear about 40 minutes ago. So
yeah.
I think you guys are exaggerating because, like, I mean, War of the Visions came up because, like, again, it's like the systems are very similar. So of course, there are a lot of similarities, right?
Keeps going.
Stop telling us about it.
Take a drink every time Bharos says.
Yeah, I don't know why people are so triggered.
Keep going on.
Fuck! Get me out, Azra. Get me out.
Right,
Besides, we should probably start like a War of the Visions podcast instead because FFBE is dying, right?
Don't steal my idea. All right, we'll see you guys next week.